Hello, welcome to another episode of Child Abuse Awareness with Darlene J. Clark. Be a part of the solution instead of part of the problem. Get my volume down on my phone. So, today we are going to do what we can about trying to find out as much as we can on this Zaylee Grace Fryer missing since May the 10th, 2011 in Tennessee. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is the use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips a balance in favor of fair use. Matthew 18, verse 6. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones, which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Matthew 18, verse 10. Take heed that you despise not one of these little ones. For I say unto you, that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father, which is in heaven. Let me get this. This is going on at the bottom of the page. If you have information on this case, call Tennessee Bureau of Investigation at 1-800-324, I think it's 824-3463 or 911. Hello there, Eric. Good to see you. Hi, Jackie. Good to see you. So glad that you're both are here. There's some other in here as well. Thank you and God bless. I feel for the family. There's some of the stuff might be added, more repeated. So this is the Amber Alert, the paper. So the date was May the 10th, 2011. Location Millersville, Tennessee. This is Zaylee Grace Fryer. She was 4 months old, female, ethnicity other, hair color black, eye color brown. But of course, she was 4 months old at the time. Zaylee has a quarter-sized birthmark, that's brown birthmark on her right leg. This is Shauna Fryer, 28 years old, female, white, blonde, hazel, 5'6", 160 pounds. Unknown, male. A Middle Tennessee Amber Alert was issued for the Millersville Police Department for 4-month-old Zaylee Grace Fryer, while white female, brown eyes, black hair, weighing 12 pounds and approximately 24 inches tall. Zaylee has a quarter-sized brown birthmark on her right leg. Zaylee was last known to be with her mother, Shauna Marie Fryer, on May the 10th, 2011. Investigators confirmed the identity of a woman recovered deceased in the Davidson County as Shauna Marie Fryer. So without anybody trying to say that she did something, please refrain from doing that. Appreciate it. So let's go to this is the actual this is where the active missing child alerts. We know there's Sebastian, Wayne, Drake, Rogers. Remember to keep these children and the families in our prayers where they get answers to what happened. Pauline, Snap, Layla Santinello, Kennedy Hoyle, Summer Wells, Eva Alejandro Lopez, Chloe Leverett, Gage Daniel, and Zaylee Grace Fryer. So let's go over here now to Millersville Police share never revealed before photos information and the baby Zaylee case. This is 2021. The Millersville cold case detective is putting never before released information out to the public, sharing it first with News 2 and hoped someone would speak up about a decade old case involving Shauna Fryer and her 3-month-old Zaylee Grace Fryer, known as Baby Zaylee. Kia Towers remembered when Fryer's body was brought to the Davidson County Medical Examiner's office after she and baby Zaylee had been reported missing. Ironically, when I first came in contact with Shauna Fryer was when I was working as a forensic tech at the morgue in Nashville. I actually checked her body in, Detective Towers said. Towers is now a detective at the Millersville Police Department working to solve the cold case. When a 3-month-old goes missing, it raises red flags for everybody. It's the worst news you could possibly get, Towers said. Police believe Shauna and Zaylee went missing from their Millersville home on May the 1st, 2011. Her husband, Michael Fryer, reported them missing 2 or 3 days later, according to police. Then on May the 7th, Fryer's body was found in the Cumberland River near the Cowan Street Bridge in Nashville. It took investigators until May the 10th to know for sure it was Zaylee's mother. A body that's been in the water for the amount of time during the time of year that Shauna was in the water is unidentifiable at the time when they recovered her. Taylor said, very hard to tell any type of trauma that happened before or after. What is animal activity? What is not animal activity? Millersville police shared never before seen photos with News 2 of the clothing Fryer was found in. Photos too graphic to share show her body swollen and partially eaten away by water life. They believe she was dead before her body was ever in the water river. Definitely injuries that she shouldn't have had for just being in the water, Millersville Police Detective Chuck Consiglio said. It appeared to be a through and through wound of some sort. The entrance wound from the front and also an exit wound from the back. Detectives now reveal they believe her husband Michael was not the father of Zaylee, was their main suspect. So the actual daddy of, even though she's married to Michael, it said that he was a violent man, and I say my was because he is now deceased as well. All right, but the father of Zaylee was in jail at the time, so he is not a suspect. I know Michael was a violent offender. He had a drug problem. He had a history of child abuse towards his own children, which tells me he would have no qualms being physically violent towards another person's child, Tower said. But he was known to be a violent man with extensive criminal history, drug history, things of that nature. Police said the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation interviewed Michael after she was found. However, he has since passed away. I tried to look up to try to find out why Michael passed away. If you got other investigative people, maybe they can look it up and find out what happened to Michael and this other child of a sibling of Zaylee's who was also that's dead, 2 years old. He would never actually come out and say that he did it. There were a lot of red flags during the interview, Tower said, a lot of deceptive behavior. He provided 3 or 4 written statements, each of which were different. So the story changed and evolved along the way drastically. Police said Fryer had multiple children uh, with at least three men. Zaylee's biological father, Thurman McMurray, was in jail at the time of their disappearance and was ruled out as a suspect. I mean, I would love to know if she's still living or if she's not, McMurray said. I mean, I would love to know something because that's my daughter. And I do want to know where she's at because I do love her. Detectives believe chances are slim when it comes to Zaylee of finding baby Zaylee, who would now be 10 years old, which now she would be, since it's 2024, and so she was born in 2011, she'll be older than that. Zaylee, being only 3 months old at the time of the infant's bones are different from ours. Our arm bone does not look like an infant's arm bone, especially at that age. It could be mistaken for a rock, a twig. It could just never be found, Tower said. However, they refused to give up on any chance that she's still out there. So let's get over here where it's got to National Missing Children's Day. 5 Amber Alerts remain unsolved in Tennessee. On the average, about 500 to 600 children go missing in Tennessee each month. How about that? An average of 500 to 600 children go missing in Tennessee each month, according to the TBI investigation. Across the nation, the numbers are even greater. Thursday, May the 25th, marks the 40th annual National Missing Children's Day, which serves as a reminder of the many children who still have not returned home. So May the 25th, mark your calendars because that's National Missing Children's Day, okay? President Ronald Reagan proclaimed May the 25th, 1983 as the first National Missing Children's Day in honor of 6-year-old Ethan Potts, who disappeared from a New York City street corner on May the 25th, 1979, according to the U.S. Department of Justice Offices of Juvenile Justice. Ethan's killer was convicted decades later in February 2017, but the DOJ said the case remains active because his body was never found. His murder was followed by a series of tragic cases that prompted the creation of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Among those cases were the Atlanta child murders that claimed the lives of 29 children and young adults between 1979 and 1981. In a press release, the NCMEC said the abduction and brutal murder of 6-year-old Adam Walsh in 1981. Hey there, Chris. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Then in 1982, Congress passed the Missing Children's Act, which enabled the FBI to include information on missing children in its National Crime Information Center database. The NCMBC was officially opened 2 years later. Since then, hey Amanda, yes, the case in Tennessee, yes. Since then, the NCMBC, but this one here that's talking a little bit first about the Amber Alerts and stuff. Since then, the NCMBC has played a role in locating more than 400,000 missing children by working with law enforcement as well as families, victims, private organizations, and the public in 2022 alone. Thanks for coming. So the NCMBC assisted in 27,644 cases involving missing children. But y'all seen up here when it says how many children go missing in Tennessee, and this was a couple of years ago. This was 2020. Well, 2023. That was last year. On average, about 500 to 600 children go missing in Tennessee each month, not year, each month. They're 12 months. Do the math. So here we go on down. I want to go here. Let's go here. Here's Zaylee Grace Fryer. This would be Zaylee Grace Fryer was only 4 months old when she and her mother Shauna vanished from their Millersville home on May the 1st, 2011. Shauna's husband reported him missing 2 to 3 days later, according to Millersville police. This is how they think that she will look, but she'll be older than that now since she's a preteen. She was still alive. I pray that she is still alive. Then on May the 7th, Shauna body was found in the Cumberland River near the Calvin Street Bridge in Nashville. It took investigators until May the 10th to know for sure it was Zaylee's mother. Police said they believed she was dead before her body was ever in the river because of that wound that went from the front of her to the back of her. However, 12 years later, Zaylee has still not been found. In an interview with News 2 in 2021, Millersville detectives revealed that Shauna's husband was her main suspect. TBI interviewed him after the body was found, but he has since passed away. We need to find out how Michael Fryer passed away. We need to find out how her other child passed away too. Zaylee's biological father was in jail at the time of her disappearance and ruled out as a suspect. While chances of finding Zaylee now seem slim, the Millersville Police Department is continuing to search for answers in a decade-old case. If Zaylee is still out there, detectives have preserved a part of Shauna's liver so they can get a DNA hit with a cheek swab. At the time of her disappearance, Zaylee had black hair, brown eyes, and weighed about 12 pounds. She also has a quarter-size brown birthmark on her right leg. Let me close that one out. And so I thought this was interesting on some of these things that are being said over here at Web Sleuths also. So Governor Bill Haslam offered $5,000 for information leading to the whereabouts of Zaylee Grace Fryer, who was 4 months old when she disappeared on May the 1st. The baby and her mother, Shauna Fryer, were reported missing from their home in Millersville on May the 5th. On May the 7th, the mother's body was recovered from the Cumberland River in downtown Nashville around the area of Shelby Street Bridge. Zaylee has not been seen since May the 1st, an Amber Alert issued statewide for missing children. Some of these links I tried to open at. That's another one that would not open for me. Okay, not everyone is Shelby. There's several reasons they're talking about the SSDI. Okay, and it's tips have come in from across the country, but 1 year later, there's still no sign of a missing baby girl from Sumter. So let's go on down further updated poster, which we got the updated poster, which I showed you. There is new evidence, which this person puts out. Chief David Hyman said the evidence points to Shauna Fryer being killed in the city of Millersville, perhaps near her home, then dumped in the river in Nashville. So I couldn't click that link either, that if I'm not mistaken. Everybody's bumping up because they want answers to this case. Okay? So listen to this, y'all. This one says, I am so mad right now. I almost can't see straight and form my thoughts in some types of cohesive manner, but I will try. This report just came out, and though we are no closer to finding Zaylee, I just wondered what the heck. Things got pushed around and put on the code shelf, and then I read that files were missing. Guess who had them? The TBI has the files of what was missing in the documents. I watched the news report with Shauna's father-in-law, who has her other two kids, last night, and I haven't found that link yet. It was on Fox 17. So I'm searching and found this report. What y'all think about that? Missing files, right? Why are they not letting them keep the files for Shauna, right? So let me go on and close this out. There's more information here. Let me close that one out. Let me get past that and again. So Millersville cold case reopened as murder investigation. This was January 27, 2015. So what I did find a case where it's open here. A Millersville cold case centered on the death of a 28-year-old woman and the disappearance of her infant daughter has been reclassified as a homicide based on a forensic report that has been in the TBI's possession for more than 3 years. Millersville Police Chief David Hyman said Tuesday that his department didn't receive the report until 2 weeks ago. The report focuses on the scene of Shauna Fryer's death, reportedly in Millersville near her home on Smith Street in Sumner County. Shauna Fryer's body was found in Nashville, floating in the Cumberland River on May the 7th, 2011. She had a 4-month-old daughter, Zaylee Grace, had been reported missing 2 days later. Zaylee has never been found. Hear this? This is actually in Robertson, if I'm not mistaken. So on Tuesday, TBI spokesman Josh Devine said in an emailed statement that all of the evidence in the Fryer case was made available to the proper authorities when it was first analyzed, and that the TBI had been working collaboratively with the Millersville Police Department since the case was opened. And that's so. Why is there no files that were? Why were these files missing in the police thing? Maybe it's not TBI's fault. Maybe it's somebody that worked in the police force. So that guy came new in there. I hope the other guy was not that was in charge was not responsible for getting rid of some of the files. Hyman took office as Millersville police chief in September, and he began to look through the city's cold case files about a month ago. He noticed that the prior case files were missing. The TBI had them, he said. When Hyman got the city's files back 2 weeks ago, the TBI also sent its case files, which included the report, he said. There are some deep questions that need to be answered as a result of the report, Hyman said. We found the pieces of the puzzle. We just had to put the puzzle together now. Why this was not handled 4 years ago, I don't know. In his emailed statement, Devine wrote that previous leadership at Millersville Police had deferred the bulk of the evidence collection, investigation, and interviews for the Fryer case to the TBI years ago. Yeah, it should be. They should be turned over to TBI, and TBI should have continued investigating and not just making it just sit there. Though we did not have a formal request from the District Attorney General, we found ourselves for some time in a leadership role on this matter. Devine wrote, the results of our lab analysis were made available to the District Attorney General and our personnel, but not explicitly to Millersville Police. We were more than receptive, however, to discuss the case and the evidence when the new leadership in the department expressed an interest several weeks ago in pursuing the investigation more directly. Evidence contained in the TBI's forensic report indicates that Shauna Fryer was killed in Millersville before her body was taken to Nashville and dumped in the Cumberland River, the chief said. He did not disclose any details about how or when Shauna Fryer died or potential motive for her death. As we said, her husband Michael was violent. He abused his other kids, the kids that were his, previously with someone else. The mother and daughter were reported missing by Shauna's husband Michael Fryer on May the 5th, 2011, yet they said she was missing May the 1st. Their last seen 4 days earlier. To this day, it is not known if Zaylee is alive or dead, but Hyman said he and his officers are still holding on to hope of finding this little girl alive. She would be, over 10 years old at the moment, to 13 years old. As part of the investigation into Fryer's case, the chief said he and his detectives were planning to re-interview everyone that had been interviewed in 2011 to see if their stories had changed over time. But we know Michael's kept changing. He did 3 different things, as it said, right? The list contains half a dozen names, maybe more, including Michael Fryer and Zaylee's biological father, Thurman McNary, the chief said, which Michael Fryer's dead. McMurray was not considered a suspect in 2011 because he was incarcerated in the Robertson County Jail on charges relating to the assault of Shauna Fryer. What? He had assaulted her prior? So far, the chief said 2 people had been developed as potential suspects in the case. We're going to pursue this case the best we can and the most efficiently we can to try to seek the truth. Hyman said, we want to look for the baby. Hopefully, when we question these individuals, someone will say they know where the baby is. Well, y'all, this is 2015, right? Look how many years has passed. Almost another 10 years since this. So now, here is her obituary. Look at it. She's got other kids right here. See? So go right here. Fryer, Shauna Marie, age 28, of Millersville, May the 7th, 2011, preceded in death by her father, Bill Houston, mother, Nikki Lynn Houston, and a son, Devon Lee Houston. So she had a son that died that was 2 years old. Survived by grandfather Norman E. Lynn Bain husband, Michael Fryer, in-laws Clifford and Cheryl Fryer, children Desiree Fryer, Austin Fryer, Caleb Fryer, Mackenzie Fryer, McKendra Houston, Shia Fryer, and Zaylee Fryer. At the family's request, no services will be held. Okay, let's close this up. So now here's Michael James Fryer. This is the Michael, the daddy. I mean, the husband, not the daddy of Zaylee. So he was born in 1972. He died October the 13th, 2017. He was cremated. Location of ashes is unknown. Okay. So it goes right here with Shauna Marie Houston Fryer. Let me go quick, and you see her thing here. She was born in 1982, and as May the 7th, yet that's just when they found the body. So we know that she had a different time of death. See, here is baby, her kids right here, y'all. So Shauna was murdered, and her body was found in the Cumberland River. Her daughter Zaylee was with her when she was last seen. Zaylee had not been found. The murderer is still at large. The case is ongoing. It's like that one's got a birthmark on the face when she had baby Zaylee. Zaylee had one on her right leg. So this is where, yeah, this is where we had read this correctly right here. And anybody that's got any information, it's called TBI. And also, please contact 1-800 The Lost or the Millersville Police Department 911. So authorities said Zaylee Fryer vanished in May 2011 when she was only 3 months old. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and Zaylee's mother, Shauna Marie Fryer, also disappeared on the same day. Both mother and daughter were living in their home in Millersville, Tennessee. According to WKRN, Michael Fryer, Shauna's husband, who is not Zaylee's father, reported the pair missing 48 to 72 hours later. 6 days later, 40 miles away, Shauna Fryer's body was found in the Cumberland River. Authorities believe she was deceased prior to her body going into the water. Millersville Police Detective Kia Towers told the local affiliate, a body that's been in the water for the amount of time during the time of year that Shauna was in the water is unidentifiable, at the time they recovered her. Very hard to tell any type of trauma that happened before or after what is animal activity and what is not animal. In July 2021, WKRN reported police reported never before seen photos from the crime scene, and they revealed Michael Fryer is a main suspect, but he has since passed away. Towers told WKRN he was known to be a violent man with an extensive criminal history, drug history, things of that nature. Detectives released a beige-colored bra and short-sleeved dark shirt Shauna was wearing to the public when her body was recovered. At one point in time, according to the report, authorities did a DNA test on a child who resembled Zaylee. The DNA did not match, but but if they have to do more testing on other children, detectives are willing to do so. Reportedly, Shauna's liver was preserved to help with the testing. Zaylee is biracial and has a quarter-sized brown birthmark on her right leg. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children created an age enhancement of what Zaylee may look like as a young child. So if you have any information about this case, please contact 1-800 The Lost 911, and it's also the TBI with the number that's scrolling at the top. Y'all, please get the word out. This is very important. It's imperative. Like I said, I want to start getting more cases of missing kids, especially start off with Tennessee. Might have to do several cases in one sitting because of the extensive amount. I'm very disappointed when I look through the files, though. I even seen the missing adults and everything. We still have not found Joe Clyde Daniels' body. Can you believe he is no longer listed in here as a missing kid? Can you believe that, y'all? But they never found his body. The parents are in jail for his murder. The body has never been found. So that is still a missing kid. Regardless if the parents said they did it, it's kind of weird how when somebody's mental, like the parents were, the Daniels family, um, it's easy to get a confession and scare people out. They said that he claims that he had abused uh, Joe Clyde Daniels and he hit him and all that. But you know what's weird about that? There was no blood splatter, nothing like that, no evidence over there at their home to say that that was true. And if had he really had done that, there would be blood spattered. There would be evidence right there, and there was none. Thank you so much. I'm really disappointed because Daniels, it's not listed on there as a missing person. It really hurts my heart. It stirs me. Thanks, everybody, and God bless you.